truth is that we don't really have the ability to discipline. Like Asian households, Indian households, we don't really.
That's not true.
Okay,
Yeah.
so tell me.
Discipline looks different. Discipline is guilt.
All of you are gonna turn on me right now.
I mean, there's nothing to
can't,
turn.
you can't lie. You connect every mistake with each other and
Here's
then
the
make
thing.
it 10 times bigger.
Hello, namaste, Auntie Zarna here. So excited to have you at our family podcast. We have an episode coming up that's going to be sizzling hot because we're already mad at each other while we're recording this. On this episode today, again, we have a full house. My daughter, who is a junior in college, Zoya. My son, who's a senior in high school, Bridge. My 12th grader. No, sorry. My 6th grader, who's 12 years old, Veer. And my husband of 25 years old, Zarna Garg. Welcome to the Zarna Garg Family Podcast Show, and today's episode is on how Indian parents deal with disciplining their kids. How do they deal with disappointments? How do they deal with punishments? How do we as a community, as a group, as a culture deal with things with our kids when things go wrong? So let's get right into it because we're all mad at my daughter Zoya today because she once again was late to the shooting of this podcast. Every
By
podcast
15
shoot,
minutes.
well, it was actually 21 minutes, but yes, every podcast shoot has been delayed thus far because Zoya is always late. Even though we send multiple reminders, we put it on her calendar, we do everything we can to remind her, and yet one person in the family is delaying everything. So how do we deal with this? Zoya, I would say we've been very kind and supportive and waiting.
Yes, but at the same time, like if I say anything, you get angry at me for shouting at her. So I can't even say anything.
Who, me?
You, yes.
Oh, yeah, you can't say anything to her. That's right. That's
So
right.
hence-
Because
Hold on,
we
I get shouted out every time I do something wrong by both of you.
No, that's not true.
Yes,
Which
it is. Every time I make a mistake,
your dad never shouts at you. It's usually me, and I'll accept that. Your dad has a soft spot for you. It's a fact.
That is not true. When I lost my last phone, it was
Oh
not.
yeah, you did.
Yes,
did
but you
look-
lost that phone in the crack of an elevator bridge.
It wasn't his fault though.
Like,
You should have been screaming at
Oh,
Didi,
yeah.
not
Okay,
him.
first of all, let's
It
just
wasn't
discuss.
my fault either.
Uh,
It was a freak accident.
Yes. Okay, first of all, let's just discuss the ratio that your dad and I have discussed that you three may not be aware of. Shalab, you and I have a ratio that we work with, right? That you cannot yell at the kids if you're not involved with the kids a certain amount of hours in a week. If your only interaction with the kids cannot be yelling at them. If you're doing things with the kids and then yelling is a small proportion of it, you can do that. But if all
Okay,
you're doing is
so my
getting involved
question
to
is-
discipline the kids, then that is not okay.
my question, counselor, is defined involvement.
Yeah, the involvement
Providing a
is
roof on their head, is that not involvement?
not enough. No,
Providing
sir,
food on the
struck
table,
down.
is that not involvement?
Nope, not enough. It's
Providing
good. It's a
clothes
start.
for them, is that not involvement?
Okay, why don't you just make a list of their breakfast cereal, their oatmeal? Like, you don't have to be so dramatic, counselor. Relax. We get your point. Your
Okay.
point is that you made money for the family, and that is what you count as your involvement. And I'm saying that is necessary but not sufficient. You have to be actively involved in engaging with the kids before you have the right to yell at them and discipline them, because you don't know their day-to-days the way that the other person in the family who is handling the lion's share of the day-to-day understands, which in my case would be me, shockingly.
But I get
And-
to know all of that through you.
No. But exactly. So your direct involvement with the kids cannot only be, I will show up when it's time to discipline you. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Not really.
They don't see you in any other form. Am I right, kids? Back me up here.
I'm a little confused. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't
What are you
understand.
confused about?
Like, I think that I get disciplined by both of you guys. So
Okay,
No,
but do you?
what
do you,
she's asking is, do I have the right to discipline you, given that my only involvement with the two of you and before you, Didi, has been meals, movies, poker.
depends on the type of incident. Like, if I were to like lose my phone again or something, then yeah, you have the right to. But because you provided so much money and stuff. But if it was something more like turmoil, emotional or something with friends or something, then no, I don't think you would have the right to. Because you've never like told us anything on how to behave around friends or anyone. So that wouldn't be fair.
I
Okay,
see.
so as Bridge and I agree, you don't have the right to do this.
No, he did not agree with you.
He did.
Yeah,
He
I did
did.
not
He
agree with
did
you.
agree with that. Like the phone losing was a one-off. It's not an everyday thing, although it has happened
Four
a
times
few
with
times.
Bridge, two times I think with Zoya,
It hasn't happened with me yet.
and Veer has never lost a phone.
It's not true. Is that true? Veer, you've never
Yes,
lost a
Veer
phone?
has never
I've
lost a phone.
upgraded. I haven't lost a phone though.
Wow. Okay.
He
And he
was
has not lost,
real quick to make that known, wasn't he?
and he has not lost AirPods either, or any such
No, he
electronic
first of all
items.
shouldn't even have AirPods. That's a whole another discussion. Okay, but you guys, when you hear talk to your friends, what kind of discipline do you guys see your friends going through?
Can I go first?
Yes.
They usually just take away like their phone or like their PlayStation or something like an electronic. They just take it away for a month, something like
For a
that.
month?
No, it depends on how harsh what they did is.
But Veer, when they take away your friends' phones or electronics, do they just connect with you through another electronic? Because I know you kids can talk to each other through gaming systems and stuff, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So is it even really a punishment if you lose your phone or your iPlay box or whatever?
Yeah, because like after school, how are they gonna call me and be like, "Do you want to go somewhere?"
Oh, yeah. But that feels like a safety thing, no? Don't the parents worry that they are not able to connect with their kids?
I agree with you. I don't know.
Because I would be nervous to take away your phones. To me, the phone is a safety device. That's a punishment I unfortunately cannot give to you guys because it's a
How is this a
punishment for
safety
me.
device? We did not have phones growing up as safety devices.
Shala, we didn't have a lot of things growing up. We didn't have email also. We sent each other pigeon carriers. But we don't live in that world anymore. I mean, but it is a safety device. I need to know at all times where everybody is. I have location trackers. What am I going to track when the phone is sitting on my desk?
You can
Right?
call their friends to track them in
I
case.
mean, we have done that, but I don't know if the kids are. Do your kids ever say anything when I call them and start tracking you guys?
Do your friends, yeah, say anything?
To my friends,
Mhm.
Yeah, I've called
I mean,
your
usually
friends
like
previously.
out of so many times of being scared and being punished, honestly, like I don't even go out anymore to the point of where my location would matter.
Mhm.
And last time I went out, I turned my location off, so it didn't
Why?
matter.
Why did
Because
you?
you get so you every time I leave the house, you get so frantic about where I am and where everyone is. You just go on location every day. You check. Oh, you're not home. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? It's exhausting as a child to like have to deal with that. It's exhausting.
Bridge, I tell you, if you tell me before where you're going and what
But if
time
I
you'll
tell you
come in,
before, you don't let me go.
where are you going?
Last time I went to a party in Yonkers, and and I didn't tell you because I knew you wouldn't allow me to go. But I just went and I turned my location off because I figured that's the only way I'll be able to go.
Where is Yonkers?
It's like upstate New York.
How did you get there?
We took an Uber there, took the train back.
I mean, of course, that would have been a no. Of course, that would have been a no. Why can't you go in the neighborhood? Like, just go around here somewhere or call your
Because we
friends
wanted
to
to
our
try
house.
something new. We've already done that. We
Who's
want to keep
we?
trying new stuff. Me and my friends.
Okay, if you would have told me, I would have worked it out for you. Anyway, Zoya, are you still mad because somehow we did something wrong by you being late in this podcast?
No, I just don't know. When I do something wrong, I showed up 17 minutes late to this podcast. And I am obviously really sorry about that. And that is disrespectful to both of your time, to Bridge and Veer's time. The reason I'm smiling is because, like, I'm not upset. I have no reason, I have no grounds to be upset. I was the problem. I was late. But when I am 17 minutes late and you and dad are calling and texting me 30 times and WhatsApping in our family WhatsApp, this is so disrespectful. Like, Zoya, I'd like to see you come late to something else. Like, I feel like there's just no forgiveness in any sense of the word. Like, you can discipline and say, Zoya, you messed up. Why are you late? This is not something that should be a habit. Instead of making it so personal and so emotionally destructive every single time we have the conversation. Like, I just feel like beat up a little bit, just like in the WhatsApps. And I get it. Like, I know you guys need to make a statement, but I think there's a better, if dad and you had texted me, Zoya, this is out of hand. Like, it's really disrespectful that you show up late. that's one thing, but you guys calling me so many times without even asking me, oh, Zoya is generally on the margin a responsible person. She messed up. Maybe we should give her some grace that she's the only one in a different time zone, and she's a student, and she messed up and has clearly apologized for it and has taken note of it. I wish that there was a little bit of forgiveness in the tone that you guys deliver. You're just like hard hitting, like, you did this wrong, you did that wrong. And yeah, I understand that I messed up, but
But Zoya, this is not the first time
Yes.
we've had this issue, which is why we built
but
in
I haven't
several.
recently been late
But
to
we built in
anything.
several reminders. Like, I'm managing everything on my end to make sure that things are the smoothest they can possibly be for the four of you. I mean, the number of reminders I have to put out, just you think that, I mean, usually I'm hard on your dad when he says something to you, but today he was absolutely justified, and now
But
you're saying we
mom,
could have
I'm
worded the.
saying, but
Yeah.
mom, but that's not even fair in that regard, because I agree with you. You do send so many reminders, but I also feel like I just feel like no context is taken into consideration. This is my finals week of the quarter. I'm dying. And
But
I feel like
I asked you, can you do this? Like, if you would have
But
said,
of course
Mom,
I can do it. But mom, I made a mistake and I showed up 15 minutes late. And instead of being like, Zoya, why did you show up 15 minutes late? It was like, Zoya, like all these messages, you called me 8 times while I was walking. I was rushing from a meeting that I had with 2 TAs, right? It wasn't even like, oh, Zoya's just la-di-la doing nothing. She was meeting with 2 TAs. It ran over. I was trying to be professional and focus on the meeting. And I messed up and I put this as a reminder at 1 p.m. instead of 10 a.m. because the time zone is different. I made one mistake and showed up 15 minutes late, and you acted like I didn't show up at all, and I was completely inconsiderate. And I
so
get it.
hold on.
I'm all for discipline, but I do feel
Can you just hold on? So while four of us are sitting in this Zoom that was scheduled, we should just wait. If I don't call you, I have no
No.
idea where you are. We're all just
But I
sitting here.
texted immediately at 10 a.m. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be late. I texted everybody at 10 a.m. I'm going to be 10 minutes late. I was 10 minutes late.
All right, we're not going to get into this anymore because it's just going to get too charged.
I mean, in any case, how does one even discipline a 21-year-old, right? She's not a child. You
Right.
can, in my opinion, the act of disciplining as a parent essentially finishes the moment the kid turns 18. Now
Oh.
it's an adult
Yes.
relationship.
No,
I
bitch,
agree.
calm down.
And-
You just saw an
I
opportunity.
agree.
No, I'm
Stop it.
serious.
Why would you say that? No, you
I'm
don't need
serious.
to
Let
be
me
serious.
finish. Can you please not interrupt me and discipline me?
Oh.
Like, as an 18-year-old, the responsible, I mean, the United States Constitution allows an 18-year-old to vote.
Oh my god.
He or
So,
she,
If Baya lost his phone again, what would you do? He's 18 now.
so that's where I would make the distinction of getting upset at him as an adult because I'm paying for it. If he had bought that phone with his own hard-earned money and he loses it, I would literally say nothing. It is his money. He does what he wants with it. Lose as many phones as you want and keep replacing them. I don't care. But if I am the one still providing that phone and making that life possible for him, still, then of course I'm going to be upset at him, but not as a child. I'm going to be upset at him as an adult,
Okay.
which is different. As a child, I would try to punish him. As an adult, I'm just going to be angry at him.
Okay, these are not the house rules, just so everybody knows. Nobody is being treated as an adult in this household, not an 18-year-old, not a 21-year-old, because your dad and I have many, many more decades of experience than you guys, and no one is getting off the plan anytime soon. We are a unit. We are not American. We don't just throw our kids out when they turn 18 years old. We're going to function as a unit for
I mean,
many, many more
emotionally, you
decades.
have to throw them out, Zarna. Even
No.
if you don't throw them out financially and from a friendship and a relationship standpoint, but you do have to throw them out emotionally so that they can learn to live. You and I are not going to be around forever. I
I
mean,
don't know what you're talking about. Listen, we control our kids through the money. That's what Asian people do. That's what many cultures do. If you take the money out, tomorrow he's going to be like, I'm going to go to party in Yonkers every night because I'm paying for the Uber. Are you okay with that?
I kind of am okay with that. If
No,
he's
you're
making
not
that kind of
okay
money.
with that. You're not okay with that, okay? You're not, like, listen, I don't want to lose my family over this minor infractions, and Zoya knows now to be on time, and next time we're going to schedule her an hour before, and that's how we're going to solve this. And And the truth is that we don't really have the ability to discipline. Like Asian households, Indian households, we don't really.
That's not true.
Okay, so
Yeah.
tell me.
Discipline looks different. Discipline is guilt.
It's
Guilt is not
Discipline-
so
discipline.
guilting.
Discipline
No,
is not
no,
discipline
no,
is
no.
not grounding. Discipline is actually scarier in Asian households, I would say,
Yeah,
because
100%.
it's so emotionally charged. It's like if you talk to any child of immigrants, there's so much guilt that is just you're scared for your life at all points.
No, that's so fact. There's been times where like I knew I was gonna get in trouble. I knew I was outside. I was gonna get home and get in trouble, and I just
But
started
it
like
didn't stop you
praying. But
from
I would
doing-
start praying. I would
I
start
know,
like
I
I
started
would do anything.
praying.
I would do anything in my power to not have to go home and face the wrath of mom or
What are
usually
you
just
doing
mom.
when you're
There's
outside
so
this
many
house?
not sometimes I'll just be past late and you'll call me and say this is unacceptable, whatever. And I literally just want to like not come home because I'm just so scared
Just
of coming
because
home.
I said it's not acceptable to
No,
be
but I
late.
know
not
what
what
you're
you
gonna
said.
say when I get
That
home.
is
When I
not
get
what
home,
you
first of all, I'll come home. This is the scariest. I swear to God, coming home when you do something wrong in this household is so scary because you'll walk in the door and you won't say a word. You will be dead silent for the first like 5 minutes, and I'll walk past you, and you won't say a word. It'll be
Wait, so me
complete
being
silence.
silent and
Because
understanding is
it's
also
not
a problem
silence
now.
though. You're silent, but it's not silence because you're saying so much more by being silent than you ever could, and you know it. You're silent. You don't even look at me when I come in because I have to go past you to go to my room. So it's just silence. I go to my room. I slowly walk because I have no idea what to do. I don't know if I'm supposed to say something. I don't want to say anything. And I go to my room.
Yeah, the worst is when Bridge or Veer texts me, "You're being flamed." Like before I got on this call, as I'm crying, trying to call an Uber to come desperately to my dorm because I'm running late to this podcast. Bridge is texting me, "Didi, you're getting cooked in the podcast right now." And then I start praying in the
Why are you guys?
Please, God.
We were so understanding. We couldn't have been
You
more
were not so
understanding.
understanding.
Why
Veer,
are you?
have you
oh,
felt that way ever?
Oh
Being
my
He doesn't
God.
mess
Now-
up. When has Veer
now
gone
he's
disciplined?
No, like there was one time I talked about this in one of the live podcasts. Remember when I hit a kid?
Oh,
Yes.
great.
But
Oh.
Veer, you were completely justified. You did
Yeah,
nothing
that was
wrong.
different.
Hold on. Set
Still,
the
but
context
still, I
up.
felt
Veer,
like I
tell
did
the
something
story.
wrong.
Tell the story. Tell the story.
Because people need to hear. When you say you hit a kid, it sounds like you were like a felon. And we need to explain to people what happened and maybe ask people what they think they would do and their kid should do in the circumstances.
Okay, so I was doing an after-school program. It was like some random sports program, and there was a bunch of other kids. So I had to bring my water bottle because obviously you're gonna get thirsty while playing sports.
Yeah.
And it was one of like the spray water bottles that's really cool. So another kid was touching my water bottle, and I told him multiple times to stop. And then I also told one of the people who operated the thing. They did nothing. They just said stop, and he went back to doing other stuff. And then eventually it just got so out of hand I had to use physical force to stop him.
Right, because
I mean, but
didn't
you
want-
also didn't like hit him, like you punched him in the face.
I knocked off his glasses. That's all I did. I didn't like punch him. I just like slightly grazed his chin.
Okay, and did
But
that
his
stop?
glasses fell off though, correct?
They didn't break. They just fell off. Yeah.
They just fell off. Yeah.
Did it stop the water bottle situation from happening?
Yeah.
Okay. And did he ever say anything to you? Did you ever say anything to him after, or it was all unspoken?
I just stopped talking to him.
Okay, and then you, of course, came home and told us this.
And the
No,
teacher called
you
me.
guys, the first time that you guys heard wasn't from me. It was from the principal.
Oh yeah, what did they say? Remind me,
The
Shalin?
principal called me, and I forget if it was who it was that did call me. It was a lady that called me,
Yeah.
and she explained the situation to me and said that the other parents are expecting an apology from Veer.
Mm.
And I said, I'm gonna, because I know Veer, I know that he would not do anything of that kind. If it was Bridge, it would be different. But there's no
Bro,
way Veer was.
That's such a shot.
I mean, it's true.
Bro,
It's true.
This
but-
episode, we definitely need to get into that as well.
Oh
Yeah,
my
but
God.
I know that there is no way Veer would have, done something of that sort. So I said, I'm not gonna commit into anything, and his mother, which is you and I, will talk to him and then come up with a way to respond to this, which we
Yeah.
did. Then we talked to Veer. He explained the whole situation to me. And I told the teacher that Veer is not going to apologize.
Right. And that maybe somebody asked that kid why he's touching weird stuff, and where is the school? Where are the teachers? Where are the people running this program? They're just leaving him to fend for himself in a post-COVID world, having to protect a bottle of water.
I do
That
think that this is
Post-COVID
actually a
world.
no,
really
he should
interesting.
not be sharing it with anybody.
This is
We
a, this
don't.
Post-COVID world. Like, COVID
No,
has
no, no,
nothing to
that's
do with
fair.
this.
No, no,
Yes,
no,
it
that's
does.
fair
It
because
has
he's
absolutely nothing to do with
I
it.
would
You can
not
share
share
water
a
bottles all the
bottle.
time.
No,
I
No,
bring
it's
No, but-
water
different.
bottles to my whole
It's
school
different. It's not
besides
my
New
friend.
Year's.
It's some random kid that I don't even want to talk to.
I'm not saying what you. I'm saying yeah, that's fine. But she's bringing it post-COVID to make it more dramatic
okay,
than it
forget
is.
post-COVID, but I think that there is something interesting here because one thing that I think parents, Indian parents in particular, I can't speak to everybody, but our parents do really well, is when a larger institution like a school or a teacher or a sports team's coach wants to discipline an Indian parent's child, the Indian parents don't immediately take the side of authority. They definitely think a lot about the kid's perspective. And I've seen a lot of times where, like, some of my more American friends, they'll get in trouble with the teacher, and the parent won't even ask for the kid's perspective. They'll just be like, the teacher is obviously right because it's a teacher. And so I do think that Indian parents, in that regard, in disciplining, really do win because I think it
I
is
mean,
good that you ask for context.
I said earlier about, took a pot shot at Bridge, but to be fair, last year when he got punched by a boy, he reacted very responsibly too. He did not get into a fight. He did not react against violence with violence, and just called me and said, "Dad, you need to meet me because my nose is broken and I'm in
I
a
mean,
lot of pain."
again, to give the audience perspective, Bridge, our 17-year-old son, was assaulted in a New York City playground. Somebody, we don't know who, was wearing a ski mask and punched our son in the nose and broke his nose in multiple pieces. And our son backed off immediately and did not fight back, and instead walked away from the situation and called his dad right away and said, I think my nose is broken and I need to meet you in a hospital or something right away. And we're very proud of our son for handling it that way, because it could have easily spiraled out of hand if he would have reacted, or his friends would have gotten involved and kids would have started fighting with each other. So there is, like, thank you God for that moment of clarity and sanity. And it is true that no matter what, I think we want to believe that our kids are good kids. We believe our kids are good kids, are studious kids wanting to do good work. So if a disciplinary issue shows up, we are going to give our kids a moment to explain and to understand, because as Shalab and me have lived in America for almost 30 years and lived life for almost 50 years, we understand that the world is not fair and the authority is not always right. And we want to understand and be there for our kids. And if there is a situation that requires some sort of apology from us, we are not above giving it, and nor would we stop our kids. We would encourage our kids. But we need to understand, for example, in the case of Veer, who's 12 years old, he's in a New York City public school, actually the largest middle school in New York City. No one is around to protect him. No one is around to help him, even after he repeatedly requests help sometimes. What in that circumstance is he supposed to do besides at least being the slightest bit defensive and saying, do not touch my stuff, especially my extremely private stuff like a drinking water bottle that nobody should be sharing with him and that he's required to bring for his sports class? So, yes, we do stand firmly behind our kids, but sometimes I do think that can get out of hand. I have seen parents who just can't see any flaws in their kids.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? There are times when every parent out there is thinking that every kid is amazing. Their kids cannot ever make a mistake. And I want to believe that we are not one of those parents, because
No,
your
that's
flaws. Oh, Zoya. Oh, okay, Zoya. You have something to say about this?
Well, I just think it's so funny because you and Dad will defend us tooth and nail to authority figures who do us dirty, but then you and Dad will also simultaneously, like, go so hard on us when we mess up in the slightest regard. Like, I feel like when there is no benefit of the doubt when I show up 15 minutes late. There is
Oh
none.
my God. Can you not make it seem like 15 minutes late?
Is
Because you
nothing.
literally have been
I
late at
agree, but
every
I apologize. I
Okay,
haven't been
and
late at every
also-
It's
podcast.
Zoya,
Okay.
it's not about the 15 minutes that you were late. My problem with that instance is that if it was, you would never ever be 15 minutes late to an event in your life that you considered exceptionally important. Just would not happen. You would not be late 15 minutes to an interview. You would not be late 15 minutes to a date with a guy that you considered is an important date to have.
That's
You would
not
not.
true.
You are late to a date for a
Of
guy.
course I am. Dad, I'll let you finish your thought. Finish your thought.
That's my only point. That I think that it's a reflection of an innate selfishness.
Okay, all right. He didn't
Just for
mean
the
that.
viewers, but that's how I felt. That is how I felt in the WhatsApp. That is
I
actually
don't think it
no,
was selfish. I don't think it was selfish. I think there was obviously a timing mistake, and I think it was a little like you didn't realize, and I understand that that can happen. I don't think it was.
Well, if it
I
was
but
not the
my
first time.
problem
Bella, when
my
you say selfish, it feels like it was intentional, and I don't believe it
but
was
there were
intentional.
messages in the WhatsApp that assumed that's what I was saying, and that's why Bridge texted me, "You're getting cooked," right? Because it was if it was a usual Zoe, I want to finish my thought here, Mom. If it was a usual Zoe is in trouble, like whatever, I'm not getting. Bridge doesn't even respond. Your poor thing. I call him, he picks up, and he's like, "Didi, you need to." Like schedule time with me because you just call me and then assume that I am bit free and I'm not free. Bridge, I call, he doesn't even pick up because he's busy. When he texts me, when Bridge texts me, I know it's bad, right? I know something really bad is happening because he actually got on his phone to text
Zoya,
me.
how many
I want to
times?
finish this thought. Just give me 1 second. What I find exceptionally frustrating is that oh, I just forgot my thought.
Maybe
I
My
was
there is
question
no
to you
deep
was,
thought
how
here.
many times have you called me and have not picked up? Even if I was not able to talk to you, have I not picked up?
You pick
And you've
up.
been at Stanford 3 years. How many times has it been that you've called me? Doesn't matter where you are and have not picked up.
No, you pick up.
Okay.
Oh,
there
I
you go.
remember my thought. My thought is that I remember my thought is that when I get in trouble, it's like whatever I did, it applies to every situation. So instead of it being, Zoya, you've been late to 2 podcasts. I have been very late to 2 podcasts. One, to the podcast that I did when I was visiting my best friend at Yale, which was a chaotic situation and it was my fault. 2, when I was at a TA meeting, I was also late, 15 minutes late today. We have done, I want to say, 20 or so podcasts, including live shows, which required me to travel, and these shows. And of those times, I've been late twice. But you on this very podcast have applied this one mistake to everything. In the case of Bridge, he has lost a phone. He lost it on his own volition probably once. There have been instances where people stole his phone. There's been an instance where I tried to dap him up and the phone dropped in the elevator slit, which some may say is a crazy thing to have happened. So, but then it's like Bridge always loses his phone. It's not true that he always loses his phone. Does that make sense? Okay, now my thought's done.
And not just
Okay.
that, I'll add on to that. You apply every single mistake that we make and take a trait from that and apply it to every other mistake. Like you connect,
Yes.
you both of you guys connect every mistake to each other.
That's your mother. She has a
Oh, yeah.
habit of doing that.
Yeah,
My mother taught me not to do that. I would never do
Oh,
that,
okay.
of
Oh
taking one
my
mistake and applying it to all the other things. Your mother, though, does that. I completely
You
agree.
just switched up so quickly, Dad.
No,
I don't
on
know
that
what.
one topic, she does that with me too.
Okay.
Oh
That
my
20
God.
years ago, you did not show up for this. 18 years ago, you did not do that. When we're trying to resolve a fight, that has nothing to do with those incidents 18 and 20 years ago. So
Okay.
I know
Oh,
exactly what you guys are saying.
boo-hoo, shala, boo-hoo. Your life is so sad right now. You know what they say in America, boo-hoo.
I
Seriously.
can't believe she used the F word. I would
F-
never do that, for example.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm
It
Mom,
just
is
you
so
have
taking
to
it.
crass.
admit, you have to
community
admit,
of saints
almost
here.
every mistake I make, you always attribute to the fact that I don't slow down. Every single one.
Yes.
And some of them
But
don't
Every
involve
single
it.
one.
Some of
Yeah,
them
some
don't
of them
involve
don't
it, but you
involve
no,
it.
they
always,
do.
you
The root
always
cause
connect
is
it.
the slowing down. The root cause is you're not thinking it through. You're not slowing down. Yes, this is right. And you should be proud of the fact that your mom has put her finger on the root cause
Oh my God.
that you can solve so easily just by slowing down. That's it. If you just slow down a little bit in your life, almost all your problems will be gone. But okay, Zoya, coming back to your whole situation of like attributing one thing to the other thing and all that.
Which Bridge validated. I'm
And
not
I agree with
crazy.
that.
Oh,
And
okay,
Dad
okay,
agrees with it.
Shalab. Okay, Veer,
Oh,
you
I
obviously
don't.
don't agree with that.
Agree with what? Say it again.
With Zoya and the whole applying one trait to the other trait and all, whatever. I'm not even sure it made sense, to be honest.
It
But-
made
I agree
complete
with it
sense.
like situationally.
You agree with it situationally? All of you
depend-
are gonna turn on me right now?
I mean, there's nothing to turn.
You can't lie. You connect every mistake with each other and
Here's
then
the
make
thing.
it 10 times bigger.
Here's the thing. I will accept this that we discipline you guys internally in the family a lot harder than we let out. That is intentionally done. We want to raise good, hardworking, productive kids who will go out into the world and do good things. That is absolutely a fact. As an Indian person, as a mother, as a woman, I'm very preoccupied with what are we doing to raise kids that are going to do serious good work into the world. And the way to do
And we
that
owe
is
it
to
to our country. You know, in a presidential
Oh.
election
which
year, it's our
oh my
responsibility
god, you
to
shut
raise
up.
adult kids who now 2 of 3 are, who are going to be voting this year, both of them.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell you guys who to vote for, but that's a separate topic.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't control that because at the
I
last
can
moment
control that.
they can change their mind. How are you
No.
going to know?
No, they're not gonna do that. We will go into the booths with them. We are united as a family in who we vote for. Because that's how it's gonna
When
make
one
sense.
day technology is invented to implant babies with the ability for their mother to know exactly what that child is thinking, doing, saying,
Yes.
mom will buy it. She will cut the line. She will be the main investor. In fact,
Yeah,
it may not even be
100%.
allowed to implant them in adults, and she will still find a surgeon to do it. Like, this is like, there are times where I think I'm getting away with something. I'm like, I'll show up. And you know what's so funny is Bridge is like, Didi, you've never done anything crazy in your life. Like, there have been times where I'm like, oh, I just did something crazy. Like, I showed up at home at 11 p.m. tonight. And I'm like, I'm getting away with it. And she knows what's happening. So
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
not
know
crazy,
how.
bro.
No one needs to do crazy things, and we are proud of the fact that we discipline you guys at home. So when you go out in the world, you're ready to meet a harsh, cold world. Would you say, Shalab?
Yes.
Exactly. So, and by the way, but the fact that we back you up when you go out there is rooted in that discipline because we know you're good kids at home and we've raised good kids and you guys actually listen when we talk to you. For the most part, Bridge, you should not have gone to Yonkers, but that's a different conversation we will take off the record.
But don't you think it's interesting that Bridge now, I think what's worrisome to me as a sister is Bridge does not trust you, mom, to allow him to go somewhere he wants to go. And therefore, instead of giving you his full transparency, he's turning off his location.
Yeah,
right?
Bridge,
So
why
it's
are you doing that? That's
there is
true.
a strong reason as to why he's
Because
doing it.
I know how you're gonna. I know exactly what you're gonna say before and after.
I
And
mean,
I was just
Bridge
gonna
is
do
18
it.
years old. He doesn't have to
Shut
share
up,
his
can you
location.
just stop with the 18 years old? Like, he's a kid. It's not like there's a line in the sand that the minute you turn 18, you're a different human being.
I mean, that is what the American Constitution
I
tells
don't
us. I mean,
the American Constitution.
again, F word. What is going on with these F
Like,
bombs today?
seriously, you keep bringing up the same thing as if it be. Well, then throw them out of the house right now. Throw them out of the
Why
house.
does it have to be so black and white?
Because that's how you're making it sound.
But you are making it black and white.
You're making it black and white by saying 18, 18, 18. It means nothing. He's still a kid. She's still a kid. They're still looking to us to guide them. And you grew up differently. I will say this. I'm going to say this right now on this podcast, as
Oh.
painful as it is. You grew up in a household that you left when you were a teenager and never looked back. That is not the life that our kids are living with me and with us. If you want to
Zarna,
cut them off,
I just want to let
that's
you know
your
one thing.
personal decision,
It's
not
a-
mine.
it's
And
a-
it will not happen till I die. They're not going to get cut off.
It's a dog eat dog world. You want a
No
friend,
dog is
get a
eating
dog.
my puppies. I don't care what world you are imagining in your head, but as long as these kids are my kids, they are going to be living under the protection of my umbrella, and I want to see who comes near them.
Scary dog.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
wait until they get married. I'm pretty sure that, when Zoya has a husband and Bridge has a wife, the spouse
They
will
will
take care
all
of you.
enter the protection of my umbrella. All their spouses, all their partners, their kids. Absolutely. I'm going to be a. I don't know what world you're imagining where they're just going to leave and go away. This is all coming from you and your household, how you grew up. We didn't grow up like that. I'm
Please
still
don't say things
connected.
like that about my mother. She did a perfectly fine job
I'm not saying
raising
any.
two upstanding boys who are doing exceptionally well for themselves and for their families as 48 and 46-year-old men.
Why don't you turn yourself 38 and 36 right now? There's a whole another math going on there. Somehow you get younger and I get older.
I mean, that is the nature of men and women. I don't know what to say.
Oh my God.
Oh my
Okay, anyway,
lord.
I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode about punishment and disciplining in an Indian Desi household. And probably no matter what ethnicity or culture you are, you relate to some aspects of what we're saying, some aspects of how you discipline your kids or how you have been disciplined by your parents. We would love to hear your thoughts. We would love to know what you're thinking. We would love to get your questions in the comment section below, wherever you're watching this. Thank you for being a part of this. And as we close every episode with a round of good grades with Gargs, where each one of us assigns an A grade to another Garg in the episode for what they brought to this episode, whether it's entertainment, education, or a moment that became the moment of the episode. We're gonna do this this round right now. Good grades with Gargs. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay, Shalak.
I'll give my good A grade today to Zoya. I think that despite the fact that, we did beat her up quite a bit ahead of the podcast on WhatsApp and thereafter as well, I did think that she was not defensive. She did not, lose her cool, and she sort of dealt with it as America would want it, as an adult, as a 21-year-old, as opposed to as a child.
That's all that therapy, baby. Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my
I
God.
think she displayed some maturity, which I'm really happy that she did.
Thank you.
That my
Okay.
grade goes to her.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you for that. Thank you. I don't agree with it, just for the record, but okay. Thank you for that. Who wants to go next?
I'm ready.
Yeah, go.
I begrudgingly will be giving my A grade to mom because I do really appreciate and have been the benefactor of the fact that you always give us as kids the benefit of the doubt in disciplined situations. Obviously, dad does it too, but in my life in particular, I had a disciplinary situation and you did not once question my morals and you looked at the situation extremely objectively, reprimanded me where I felt was even necessary, and then let the rest go and helped me deal with the situation the way that was appropriate. And I do feel like a lot of parents are very quick to, just get angry at their kids for the wrong reasons. And you do a really, really good job of separating the situation and looking at things objectively. And I think that's really great.
Thank you. Finally, the voice of reason, Zoya. I've been trying to explain to everybody, just be patient. She's coming. She's usually very responsible.
Oh, is
That
that what
gives
you were
me-
saying? Is that what you were saying when Bridge was texting
I've
me? Bridge may as well have texted me, don't even get on this podcast. That's how scared he was for my life.
I was trying to keep your dad calm. He was the one who was losing his
That's
mind.
the
to
complete
just,
opposite.
Anyway, who wants to go next with good grades, guys?
I'll go next.
Okay, Veer, go ahead.
I'm giving my A grade to Baya because
Bhaiya
he's
is
definitely
Bridge. Can you just name him for those who don't know? The word bhaiya means big brother in Hindi. And usually the little one is not allowed to say the elder one's name.
Oh yeah,
So
and if I
he's
say it, my dad made the rule that if I say it, he can slap me.
yes.
The brother can, not I.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, but what he means is he's giving his good grade to his brother Bridge. For why? Explain.
Because I feel like he's had to face the most disciplinary action for reasonable reasons. Because sometimes he tells me of stories of things he's done, and I'm just like, what made you do that? How is that possible?
Like
And
what
then-
stories? Like what stories?
Like
Veer? Tell me
jumping
right
off the
now.
stories
Prove it.
at, like
Wanting to
stories during
fly.
lunch and stuff.
To out lunch?
Out lunch
oh,
is
yeah.
like where you get to go off school premises to eat lunch.
Okay, but I always pack him lunch.
But like, you know what I mean?
Why
like
are you going out lunch? Bridge.
Come
Okay,
on, you want to
anyway.
go eat outside?
Okay, anyway. So finish your thought, Veer.
Yeah, I'm giving it to him because he's definitely had to face the most disciplinary actions.
Okay.
And
alright,
he
thank
handles
you.
it the best. I mean, like, Veer handles everything really well
Okay,
because.
Zoya, yeah, you already assigned your A
Oh
grade.
my
Like, let's
God,
not jump and
Mom.
piggyback.
She
Oh,
is like,
You already
You-
assigned your A grade to me, so let's just focus on where your mind was at the right time and like leave it at that. And now, Rich, do you have an A grade to assign to somebody?
yes, I
Yes.
also am gonna give my A grade to Mom, just because some of the most impactful moments of my life have been where I've made a big mistake. I remember in middle school I made a pretty big mistake involving like some girls or whatever, and like nothing weird, just like it was just a disciplinary thing. And I remember you were very much on my side. Like even though I made a mistake, like it was clear that I made the mistake. There was no sides. You supported me in it though, and I thought you were gonna like kill me or something. I was never gonna be allowed home, but you really supported me through it. And I think that more like I feel like if you had disciplined me there, it wouldn't have really encouraged me as much as it did when you supported me not to do anything like that
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, for clarity, it was not anything weird related to girls. It was something about texting and not following up and all of that. And but feelings were hurt, and I, of course, understood the girl's side and I understood my son's side, and we were able to resolve it with both parties involved. And I've said repeatedly that we discipline you guys hard at home, but then when something happens in the world that affects you, we want to get to the bottom of that situation, because we, at least one of us, not your dad particularly, but one of us spends a lot of time getting to know you guys properly and understand why you would have or would not have done something. So thank you, Bridge, for acknowledging that. Right now, Shalab, if you've noticed, I'm winning. And yeah, what? Why are you reacting, Zoya? Thank you.
Just let's wrap this episode.
Yeah. And I will assign my good grade with Gargs on this one to my son, Bridge, because, you know, when he got assaulted in that New York City playground, that situation could have spiraled out of hand so easily. All his friends were there. Had he reacted and wanted to fight back, it would have become like a big cluster of teenage boys and men fighting with each other in a New York City playground. And he acted so maturely, so extremely maturely. And I'm so proud of the way the whole situation was handled. And even the aftermath of it, the recovery of it, the surgeries that were involved in the fixing of his nose. Really, Bridge, you showed us that all your years of us making you do yoga and meditation basically paid off and gave you that moment of zen. In that moment, all the years that we forced you to go to yoga paid off in my eyes.
In fact, the New York Police Department captain said as
Yes,
much.
exactly. In fact, the New York it said it to me, Shalab. Why are you saying it as if he said it to you?
What?
The New York Police
He
Department
said it to
captain.
me. I was the one who brought him to the
Yeah,
police.
we were there together.
Okay, but I was there on the phone in spirit the whole time.
Oh my
So don't try to
God.
talk me out of my
There's
son's
enough
I said you
experience.
seats
would
at the
insert yourself
table.
into that.
It's every situation. Like,
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of
What? Did Dad go?
Dad went. Everybody
yeah,
went.
Dad,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank
Oh,
you
okay.
so much for joining us. Let us know your thoughts, how you've been disciplined in your household, how you do the disciplining in your household. We want to hear all of it. Give us your good grades. We are always watching to see who's winning the grades profile. Let us know what you want to hear about next. And thank you for showing up. Bye bye from the Gargs.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.